Ladies and gentlemen, we are live this afternoon for another edition of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 Featherlite Modified Series doubleheader action once again on the channels. We have 6 races to go in the season, but these could be the final 2 races of the season, considering the fact that there is a chance that our driver Joey Patterson could clinch the championship 4 races before the season finale here today. It's going to take a pretty good performance in both races and maybe a little bit of help to be able to do so, but it is possible going into first race at Richmond for the Bell Tower 150, and then the second race today at Nazareth, which will also be 150 laps. I should say, I'm not able to clinch a championship in the first race at Richmond. No matter what happens, I can't score that many points in this race that would allow me to give myself a chance to even clinch. So it's going to have to take great performances in both races today in order to clinch 4 races early and have this be the final live stream ever on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005, at least as far as the modified series is concerned. Was fastest in happy hour practice, qualified on the pole for race 1. I will not qualify for the second race later today at Nazareth or practice for that one. So I definitely want to get my practice and qualifying in for this one so we can try to build upon that. Currently, our driver, Joey Patterson, has a 333-point lead over second place George Dennis in the point standings. The magic number is 372 at the end of the stream today. So within both of these races, we need to be 372 points or more ahead of George Dennis in second in order to clinch the championship. So we'll keep an eye on him today, and obviously we'll keep an eye on Joey Patterson. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're about to get into this modified series doubleheader on a Sunday afternoon. Purple Express, welcome to the stream. No problem, my man. I completely agree with your frustration from yesterday. I was there, to say the least. The green flag is in the air. We are underway. Our first live stream in 3 days on the channel. We are back at it again. And a pretty good jump for that bottom lane, at least on the front row for Joey Patterson, as he's able to pull clear of Paul Donnelly into the first turn. He'll hold clear again in the middle of 3 and 4. And there's 5 bonus points for Joey Patterson leading the first lap of the race today. Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream. Next place, let's try to clinch. Yeah, hey, that's more that we can do other stuff on the channel. I want to get back to live streaming the NASCAR 21 Ignition career mode races, at least a couple of them this week. I plan on live streaming Watkins Glen when we get there, Michigan when we get to that point in the schedule, and potentially Daytona as well for the regular season finale. I think those will be 3 live streams, at least for the rest of the regular season. Then I'll be live streaming a few playoff races here and there as well. But as far as this coming week is concerned, plan on doing that, especially if we clinch the championship today. That'll free up a little bit more time to be able to do that because it takes me more time to record and edit versus just streaming it, only because I'm streaming it and I don't have to edit anything afterwards and then let it process. It's already up and ready to go. Make a pull on ignition. I want to see iRacing. I don't have iRacing. I haven't scored a pole on NASCAR 21 Ignition yet. I haven't scored a pole on my World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series game yet either on the career mode, and I'm in my 3rd season as of recording. Which, by the way, Season 3 will start tonight. At some point today, I'll have that episode uploaded. Recorded it 2 nights ago, so got most of that next season already recorded already. I think I've got like 2 more episodes to record out of it. I've got 3 in so far. So regional series, it's a lot of fun. That game is a lot of fun. This season was very challenging. So it was kind of like in that mid-pack. I wasn't too slow and running at the back every race, but it's hard to compete for wins right now too. So championship contention is possible. But for my first year in that series, it's going to be really difficult. I did it for the first year in the local series. Probably going to take me more and more seasons to win the championship as I work my way up the level, though, I'm sure. As far as this race is concerned, already just over a half-second lead for Patterson. Just nothing but full throttle racing, really, not getting out of the gas at all. This car is very fast and actually is running lap times early on in this race faster than what he did in practice and qualifying. His qualifying time was 19.8. He ran 19.9s in practice. And his fastest lap is a 19.638, which was that last lap back to the start-finish line for Patterson. So 0.2 of a second quicker than qualifying already on lap 10. Obviously, that pace is going to drop off as we get further and further along in this one because there were no pit stops in the modified series. Still ran another 19.6 on the next lap. Not as fast as the one prior. 0.06 of a second off. You have a PC, right? I have my laptop, but it is not. I guarantee you, it's not compatible for iRacing. I wouldn't even want to do iRacing on my laptop, to be completely honest. I don't have a screen size monitor that's big enough to my liking. It would be cool to iRace, but you know the main focus of this channel is commentating, not so much me racing itself. I'm doing the racing so I can commentate it because you know, I'm not gonna let somebody else. I think it's more entertaining if I do the commentary for my own races, unless I was broadcasting like an actual like scheduled, you know, event that was being put on by somebody else. You know, whether that would be on iRacing or an actual race somewhere, you know, down the road like that. Michael Train, welcome to the stream. Doing great today. Hopefully you are as well. Hopefully everybody had a Merry Christmas yesterday, and maybe you got some stuff going on today with it still being Sunday and the day after Christmas. So definitely have fun with that. We're here to enjoy the rest of our weekend live on the channel again. First time we've been live in 3 days. And I will not be live tomorrow night. I'm actually going to Monday Night Raw in Detroit tomorrow night. So we will not be live. We will have another premiere of NASCAR 21 Ignition tomorrow night at New Hampshire. So that will be edited, ready to go. I may not be in the chat for that. I'm not sure on the start time yet. I'm probably leaning on 7 o'clock being the start time for it. But we'll see. I will do my best to be in the chat. Yeah, the Packers won yesterday. That was an extra bonus Christmas gift, I guess. My grandpa's a Browns fan. He was not too happy. He took it in a good way though, because I don't want to make this seem kind of, you know, construed in any sort of way. But they did turn the ball over way too many times. And I get that last interception that Baker Mayfield threw was a hold, and that wasn't, you know, that probably should have been a penalty flag for sure. But the 3 interceptions before that, one was questionable, that it could have been called PI, but I felt like it was kind of back and forth, and that's why it was a no call. Because at first when I was watching it, I was like, oh, that's a flag all the way. But then when I watched the replay, I think it was the second interception he threw, I was like, oh, no, that wasn't. I was like, that seemed kind of hand in hand. That's probably why they didn't throw the flag. But yeah, that last one definitely should have been a flag. But that ultimately, although it costed the Browns a chance at the end of the game to win, the 3 interceptions leading up to that, it definitely put them in a hole that, you know, if they weren't in that hole, they weren't going to have to try to come back at the end of the game like they did. And that's why you just got to play 4-quarter football. You almost, you hate to see games end like that, but at the same time, you don't want to put the pressure on the referees to get the call right every time, especially when we've known the last few years that they seem to miss a lot of calls. You don't want to put that pressure on, and that's what makes it almost more important to have a good start to the game, or, you know, play good leading up to the very end, not to put yourself in those vulnerable situations. You're a Chiefs fan. They play today, right? I don't know who has the night game this week, to be completely honest. Either of them. Patterson's just pulling away right now, slowly but surely, about a tenth or two a lap. Got about 2-second lead, 25 laps into this 150 lap race. I'd say this is probably going to be the easier of the two races for Patterson tonight, only considering obviously he's got the pole for only the second time this season, but also on top of having the pole award, he was fastest in practice. So we knew he had a fast car coming in, one that he should compete, if not be the fastest car in the field. And it looks like he's got the fastest car in the field, at least for the early going. Nothing's set in stone, though. We have seen at least one crash in every single race so far this season through the first 10. And in most cases, it seems like Patterson has to miss the wreck. Just have to keep the eyes peeled on that track map at all times, especially when you have a more comfortable lead. It's a little easier to do that. You don't want to lose focus. I think you're trying to match Rogers throw for throw. And yeah, Nick Chubb had an amazing game yesterday. That Packers rush defense has been terrible for the last over a decade now. It's so bad. It seems like every now and then they can pull a good game together against a decent running back, decent to good running back, but majority of the time they fail. And I don't know what it is. We've had probably 3 or 4 defensive coordinators within the last 8 to 10 years. So it's not like it's, I mean, maybe it's the coaching, but we also rotate players around so much. Even when we had guys like A.J. Hawk, Clay Matthews in there, we couldn't stop the run. We were great at pass rushing. Our secondary was really good. We had Morgan Burnett, Charles Woodson, but we still couldn't stop the run. And it's like that now. It's still like that now. We have a great pass rush with the Smith brothers. I know Zadarius is out right now, but even Kenny Clark, when he could plug that gap up the middle and allow for Preston Smith to edge rush. And then our secondary's been awesome this year, but we can't stop the run for whatever reason. I don't know why that's always been the case, but it's always the case. So whenever we go up against great running teams like the Browns yesterday, I was like, they don't even – when the second half even started, I was like, why are they even still throwing the ball? Baker had 3 picks in the first half. It's like, don't put yourself in these situations when you're running – what they averaged, like 9 yards a carry yesterday? It's ridiculous. Just keep running the ball. Even when Deontay Johnson was running the ball, he was getting big carries. So it wasn't like it was only Nick Chubb. It's just crazy. I mean, look at what I almost said Lamar Jackson. Not Lamar Jackson, the backup, Huntley for Baltimore last week did the same thing. He was running all over the Packers defense. He's an all right quarterback, but he doesn't really have that arm accuracy. Most of his work is with his legs, and when you have a bad rushing defense, part of why he had a field day. Thanks for streaming live video games. Yeah, no problem. I like the live stream better. I like the interaction with you guys down in the chat. That and when doing the live commentary, I can edit out anything that I mess up when I'm going back and editing for the premieres and for any other videos I upload. So I know I can't make any mistakes when I live stream. Which, obviously, if you're broadcasting something real anyway down the road, which I would like to and hope to, of course, that it's live. So it gives me the best practice that I could possibly get. Michael Turner, welcome on into the chat as well. We'll see Furfur Express. What you just said right there just goes hand in hand. Yeah, I appreciate you guys, but I could see the appreciation through the words you guys said in the chat. And I would think that it's probably more relevant with the live streams only because you guys are able to, chat whatever you want. I feel like it's kind of hard to put a lot of your comments into 1 or 2 comments in a premiere at the end of it if I, miss something in the chat or even in like a random upload of a video, I'll read it. You know, the same I try to do now with the live streams, but you can't get every little detail in there like throughout the race if there's something you wanted to comment on, unless you wanted to just blow up the comment section with like 20 comments. I mean, you can do it. I'm not stopping you, but it would get pretty it probably wouldn't look good for maybe new viewers that were coming in and seeing the same 3 people comment like 20 different times in the comment section on a video. Like, the live stream makes it a little bit easier on you guys as well as myself. Patterson is just absolutely putting a beating on this field right now in race 1 under the lights at Richmond. 3.5 second lead, 43 laps in. Nobody can keep any sort of pace with him. All 22 cars still remain on the racetrack, and he's on pace to clinch in the most laps led in about 33 more laps. He could still keep on leading consecutively, and that chance at winning a championship for this 2004 custom schedule season for Joey Patterson could be alive today. Again, he's going to need a little bit of help, though. George Dennis in second place was 333 points back coming in. Again, that magic number is 372 points with 4 races to go. That's how much he has to be ahead by that or more, considering Patterson has the tiebreaker, at least currently. And I don't believe there's even a chance that Dennis can get to him, considering Dennis hasn't won yet this year. We only got 6 races left. So even if Dennis won out, he wouldn't have the tiebreaker. It'd be 7 wins to 6. So Patterson does have the tiebreaker. So it is literally 372 or more will win in the championship after Nazareth in the second race of our doubleheader today. And that will be on this stream. You won't have to go anywhere. Alternate through the different camera angles for the first time this one. Obviously, there hasn't been any lap traffic yet for Patterson. It's been nothing but clean air as well. I guess the good thing is that with these races going caution-free and the shorter race length, they fly by quick enough. So if we get into a dull part like this, we know the race isn't overly long. We can almost kind of settle in and deal with it. I'm sure Nazareth is going to be a lot more intense in this one, especially when the championship will be on the line, most likely. Unless there's a fall from grace in this race out of Patterson. Yeah, that's why you gotta keep your foot on the gas pedal. Can't take it that easy. Anything could happen. $50 laps complete, 100 still to go under the lights at Richmond. It'll be a day race at Nazareth for our second race. And same race length as far as laps go, 150 laps. Dark Crypto, welcome to the stream. 10 people watching right now, only 5 likes for the early going of this stream. Again, we're in the first, well, I guess second third now of race number 1. Like, share, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, realistic commentary on the daily. Schedule will be coming out within the next couple weeks as far as not only the tracks I plan on going to in 2022 for the race highlight videos / videos at the track that I plan on doing this year as well. Also, I will be having the schedule for the live commentary races I will be doing for the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Truck Series throughout the course of the season. I pretty much got that mostly set up and ready to go. Obviously, I can't do it on the weeks I'm at the whatever racetrack I'm at for obvious reasons. And then there's a couple of them that I'm not doing throughout the course of the season, but I can't confirm. The very first one we'll do will be the Busch Clash on Sunday, February 6th. And I plan on that's probably going to be one of the longest streams we'll ever have on the channel, considering I think it starts at like 3 o'clock with the heat races. We'll be doing all the heat races. We'll lead into the main show later that night. If there's a break between the heat races and the main race, which I would imagine there probably is, I would imagine the heat races will probably get done about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Well, I probably won't stream for that full like hour and a half in between the races. So we may have 2 separate streams that day, but I plan on covering the heat races, covering the main show. On Browns lost. So sorry for your Browns there, King Brutus. Oh, I didn't realize. Wait, hang on. Who's King Brutus? Is that Dark Crypto, or is that somebody else I don't know of? He's a mod. He's a mod of some sort. Rest in peace. Well, it wasn't Dark Crypto. Well, King Brutus, welcome to the stream. I'm not sure who that is. He's a mod, so somebody changed their name. Who is that? Who were you formerly known as? Chuck Spicer will be the first lapper. Patterson clears him cleanly. Oh, Diamond Jeff, there you go. Welcome in, Diamond Jeff. I was going to say, I was a little confused. Like, who is King Brutus? He changed his identity. Well, welcome back. Hopefully you had a Merry Christmas. EB Forever 85, welcome into the stream as well. I've noticed that Chuck Spicer's been at the back half of the field for a lot of the races this season. Remember, that's who we won the championship with in Season 1 for the Modified Series. Oh, we got trouble. Turn 2. Car on the wall. Multiple cars are crashing down the back straightaway. Sparks are flying. Cars are scattering everywhere. And up the middle goes the 150 of Patterson after Marvin Humphreys, and the 190 climbs into the wall. Richie Reed now squeezes up. He's in the wall off of turn 4, and Patterson barely is able to get on by. Business picking up quickly. The Richmond Raceway. With almost nowhere to go for the race leader. I got treacherous quick. Wade Davis in the 177. Now the next car in front of Joey Patterson. Got really tight. It looked like he slid up the track on corner entry into turn 1, and Patterson will drive underneath him down the back stretch into turn 3, wheel to wheel. And Patterson's clear off the exit of turn 4. I'd say the Patriots and the Chiefs are definitely the 2 teams to beat in the AFC right now. I could see that definitely being the AFC Championship game. They're definitely the hottest teams in that conference. It'd be a great Hall of Fame coach against great Hall of Fame coach. That'd be a pretty good pairing. Back at 1 Eastern. All right. Might miss the end of this race. Already had 1 crash. Looks like all 22 cars are still on the track. There were quite a few sparks flying down the backstretch. If somebody had damage, was maybe about to pull into the pits. Maybe they're staying out on the track. Not sure if second place driver in points, George Dennis, might have been in the middle of that. There was a bunch of cars. Now we got one blowing up down the back straightaway, very slow on the inside of the racetrack, trying to stay out of the way. And trying to make his way into the pits unscathed from traffic. Should be able to. Joey Patterson's got a lot more clean air to work with once again as well. Not sure who that was. It was a white car of some sort. Patterson 5 laps away from halfway and 5 laps away from clinching the most laps led, as he has about a 6.1 second race lead over second place. Yeah, Chiefs got a chance at home field yet too, don't they? I don't know if they have the tiebreaker or not, so they might need a little bit of help. I'd have to look at the standings. I haven't looked at the AFC side of the standings in a little while. Outside of the AFC North battle, and then the wild card battle, but as far as like the race for the number 1 seed, I haven't really seen those standings in a little bit. Have you ever? No, I have. Once again, never. It was weird watching the Packers game yesterday. So usually my weekends from work are Sunday, Monday. Obviously, we had Christmas off yesterday, so I have a 3-day weekend. But because the Packers game was on too, it just felt like a Sunday. So it feels like I got to go back to work tomorrow, but I don't, which is awesome. And it frees me up for the availability to go to Detroit tomorrow night for Monday Night Raw. So I'm pumped about it. I haven't seen a live show since July in Cleveland for SmackDown, so it's been about 6 months. I'm ready. I'll be seeing another one in Toledo like 4 weeks from now too. Another Monday Night Raw. That's the Monday night before the Rumble, so that would be a good show. Should be. Chiefs on NFL Game Day. PlayStation 1. I've never played that game. I never had the original PlayStation though either. I would have been really, really young. I'm sure my dad probably had it, but I can guarantee you I probably never played on it. Couldn't tell you what games I would have if I did. I can live stream tomorrow. I would if it was a holiday. That'd be the only way I would do it in the afternoon on a Monday. Most of you people would probably end up missing it, I would have to imagine. I'm going to have to premiere. It stinks because usually I don't think I've missed a live stream on a day I've had off of work in a long time. Well, except for Christmas for obvious reasons yesterday, but outside of a holiday, it's been a long time since a day off. You'd have to go back to when I was at Martinsville, really. Which, again, for obvious reasons, I was out of town that weekend. But if I've been at home and off of work, I have not missed a live stream on a day off in a very, very long time. Maybe ever. I don't know. I really don't know. Guess Spicy Chuck Spicer got mild peppers. Yeah. Went from spicy hot sauce to mild. He's not as hot as what he was last season. He's having a championship hangover. Still just got the one driver out of the race. Again, it seems to be 2 to 3 every race, so I am not thinking that we are done with the blown engines, and we may not be done with the crashes yet either. The good news is that huge pack of cars that was trying to scatter around, missing the carnage and missing the crashing that was going on, is on the complete other half of the racetrack from where race leader Joey Patterson is at. They're just getting off of turn 2 as he's getting off turn 4, so he would have plenty of time to miss it if they're involved again. All it takes is one car to get turned around in a pack like that, and that's just going to cause a parking lot on these short tracks, which basically the whole Modified Series schedule is, except for the road course races, is short tracks. Tracks that are 1 mile in length or shorter. Bill Calhoun and Paul Donnelly will be the next 2 lap cars in front of Patterson. Donnelly started outside of the front row, quickly started going backwards at the start of the race, and that was the last we saw of him. I've not seen Bill Calhoun at all today until just now. And he's trying to get around Donnelly into turns 1 and 2. They are nose to tail as Patterson closes in, trying to get to the inside of Calhoun into turn 3. He's going to drive it in deep. And he is there, and he'll be able to clear Calhoun. And he is clear. Donnelly looks like through the tri-oval as well. Calhoun's going to follow the lane that Patterson left open to at least get back around Donnelly for position. And now he's the first car lap down, which again doesn't really matter considering there's no caution, so no free pass award. Now an 8.1 second lead at the line that time with 60 laps to go in race 1 of our doubleheader. Yep, and anything could happen in a full race. It didn't really seem like the interval dropped at all when Patterson had to miss that first accident. He checked up and probably lost maybe a second at the most, but considering he had about a 6-second lead when it happened, it didn't really cost him in the long run. And he got through so many cars that he only had 2 more in front of him for the next couple laps after the fact. Definitely could have been a lot worse. We'll have those championship clinching scenarios in the next race once we figure out the actual point standings at the end of race 1. We'll go back and look, see how much bigger the points lead will grow, assuming Patterson will grow it with a win today in race 1. Also have NASCAR 99 for the PlayStation 1. I cannot say I have played NASCAR 99. Oldest NASCAR game I've ever played was NASCAR Thunder in 2002. That was the very first NASCAR game I ever played. The oldest one I currently have is Thunder 04. I don't have those other. I don't have 02. I don't know if I played 03 or not, to be completely honest. I can tell you I do not have those currently. Oh, man. Patterson inside. Wayne Huckabee in the Nacho's car. Patterson all clear. Huckabee has a win this season. Only 3 different winners so far in the first 10 races. Joey Patterson has 7. First 2 races of the year were won by Danny Ross, and Huckabee has a win somewhere in the middle of all that. Currently a 3-race win streak coming into this one today for Joey Patterson as well, so he's looking to make it 4 wins in a row and he's only 50 laps away from doing so. Yeah, in all honesty, I never really, can't say I've played a whole lot of NASCAR video games. Thunder 02, Thunder 04, then the rest of the EA Sports games, 05, 06, 07. I didn't play 08 or 09. I never played any of the Technics games, and then Heat Evolution through Heat 5 and now NASCAR 21 Ignition. Because growing up, like, I didn't really get a whole lot of NASCAR games. It was basically just I kept playing the same, really, 05 and 07 for like the longest time up until NASCAR Heat Evolution came out. Because those were my two favorite. And I didn't even play Thunder 04 at all, really, growing up until I did that playthrough about a year ago. Last fall into the spring. Well, there's Chuck Spicer again. He's about to go a second lap down. Maybe. Patterson not quite clear yet. He will clear him into turn 3. And Rod Hansen in the 101 will be the next car. Probably about a half a second up the way. Hansen just chopped off Patterson. He had a wide entry into turn 1. Patterson got it on the brakes pretty heavily. Let him in, and Patterson dive bombs way underneath Hansen. They'll clear him off the exit of turn 4 as it looked like Hansen was about to throw another block down the straightaway, so Patterson went as low as he could go, really staying above the apron. It's hard to tell who's going a lap down for the first time and who isn't. Outside of Chuck Spicer, we know is 2 laps down. It's mainly because of that crash. I don't know who I passed all in the middle of it and who I didn't. At least a half dozen cars, probably more. Patterson just kind of flew by. It was already almost 30 laps ago. We got another car down on the inside of the racetrack who was blowing an engine. It's the 132 car. He'll have to nurse his way all the way back around the racetrack as he missed the pit lane that time through. He's the second driver now to have an engine failure in this one. 40 laps to go this time by at Richmond. Bought a PlayStation 1 a couple of weeks ago. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I repurchased this PS2 last fall when I got NASCAR Thunder 2004. I got a refurbished one off of Amazon, and I haven't had any issues with it. So far, so good. Hopefully it stays that way. We have been seeing speeds pretty much over 115 miles an hour, at least out of our race leader and points leader, Joey Patterson, in this entire race. Pretty much on the gas all the way around this racetrack. Never dropped below 120 miles an hour that time through 3 and 4. Hitting nearly 140 miles an hour at the end of the front stretch on this 3/4 mile short track. Yeah, you always got to get the warranty, too, especially when you're buying these older consoles, because I didn't completely trust it until I actually got it, and I had a couple weeks worth of play on it. I'm like, okay, it's working pretty good. And now I've had it for almost a year and a half already. I think I got it back in August or September of 2020. I know it was after my birthday last year. So I'm probably going to say late August, early September. It's a couple months after NASCAR Heat 5 come out. Had come out. Not only the hot streak of 3 straight wins in a row for Joey Patterson, but remember, he has not finished worse than third in the 10 races so far this season. He's about to make it 11, considering how much he has dominated this race today, trying to go wire to wire, leading every single lap. That's something he has not done this year. Only adding to the accolades of a potential championship winning season. We're only 32 laps away from Patterson getting the checkered flag in race number 1. And the good news is he doesn't have to worry about cautions to bunch the field back up. The bad news is if we get a wreck like we did, he's going to have to miss it. He did a great job missing the first. Hopefully we don't get another one. Starting to close in on the heavier group of traffic. I don't think that's the same group that was about a half a lap behind him a while ago. It could be, but I don't believe it is. I will say Richmond's probably my best track on this game. So I should have had a feeling that we were probably going to dominate this in the Modified Series too. It seemed like in the Busch and the Cup Series, when I was racing here, we were just having dominating races. I didn't race here in the Truck Series at all. With both Cup and both Busch races we had in Season 1, I felt like I dominated those races. Car in front of Patterson trying to hold his line down through the trial. Well, it's a 191 of Richie Reed. He had made contact with Patterson a little while ago when Patterson was trying to get through the carnage. So we know Reed's already 1 lap down, and he's trying not to go a second lap down. He's throwing some blocks. He's battling for a top 5 finish in the point standing still. Little undercut, middle to the bottom lane for Patterson to get underneath of Reed, down the backstretch into turn 3. Look at how much Reed is pinching off the 150 of Patterson. Patterson going all the way to the apron off turn 4, trying to get away from Reed, and he'll clear him before they enter into turn 1. Reed's just going to have to settle behind Patterson. He's got a much quicker car than him. Reed will have to fight another day to try to get that first win of the season. We won't have to wait long. We'll have another opportunity coming up very, very soon. Another 25 laps. A couple minutes in between, of course, too. Oh, we got a slow car off the exit of turn 4. They were all checking up. Somebody else dropped out of line down to the apron with a blown engine, and that's why there was a checkup. Patterson was aware of it. He kept it off the 190 of Darren Dempsey, and I'll drive underneath him off the exit of turn 2. Definitely had to jam on the brakes quite a bit there, and that was an awkward section to do so, because that's right when you're getting... Well, I guess we don't really have to lift at all, so it wasn't like we were just getting back in the gas, but it was a blind spot right off the exit of the corner. Couldn't even see the car. That was up in smoke because of the inside retaining wall until we got there. And there you see the lap car down to the bottom again. Unaware who that is, but that is the third driver now to blow an engine at Richmond. And Brady and Glover, and Brady's trying to go up the middle 3 wide. There was no room for that as he sideswipes the race leader, Patterson. They hang on to it. Patterson will pass Glover now into turn 3, lapping another race car. Tyler, welcome to the stream. Starting the Dirt Series on Switch. Good luck with that. I've heard great things about the game on the Switch, though. I never actually owned a Nintendo myself. I know my sister had a DS, and I think she had a 3DS there back when she was really young, but that was pretty much it as far as our household. Never got into Nintendo. My handheld game was my PSP. I had that for a long time. Part of why I never really got into playing any mobile games on my phone. Because I had that. Yeah, I'd rather prefer that. Still to this day, I don't have any mobile games on my phone on my phone at all. I just don't have enough interest in it. When you got the consoles. 14 to go at the line. The Howie Black. Bruce Kennedy blocking. I only guess it was Howie Black because it was a white card for 1. For 2, seems like Howie Black seems to block us like every race. Whether he's for position or not. Patterson's definitely being blocked right now. The company wanted to go truck racing. The ballpark dollar figure needed. Are you talking about like NASCAR Truck Series racing or like local like dirt truck series racing or asphalt? I wouldn't really know for either one. I'm still curious, but I have no clue what the. I never looked into it because I never thought about like really owning a team or owning a race vehicle. It could be very expensive, and I never felt like I had the funding or the backing behind me to be able to do so. So I never looked into it. I would have zero clue. But the more sponsorship dollars you can get, obviously, the better. Have 3 wide going on off turn 4 into turn 1. Patterson clears both lap cars. A good spot. They'll merge single file off the exit of turn 2. And 9 laps to go this time by for Joey Patterson. It could be just 1 race away from clinching the 2004 Custom Schedule Series Championship. That average finish will only get a little bit smaller with another win yet today as a 1.4 average finish through the first 10 races and 7 wins in those first 10 races, 2 runner-ups and a third to start the year for NASCAR. Yeah, I have no clue. I have zero clue. Sure, there's some stuff you can find online that'll make it. Because they're pretty. That's one thing that sponsors seem to do a pretty good job of. Is they're pretty quiet on how much money they give to race teams. The race teams are pretty quiet about how much money sponsors give to them for the most part. I feel like that's why Marcos Simonis was getting a little bit of flack during the season when he was telling how much money he was spending on sponsorship there for those truck series teams midway through the season, or all those race teams. Like, yeah, I was spending this much, and it almost kind of devalued it because I guess teams were usually asking for more. And they're like, well, if he's only asking for this much, then we're only going to ask for this much. And it started to kind of devalue it a little bit. But they're usually pretty quiet about that. But I'm sure you could find, some accurate websites or something that they've conducted, educated estimates I'm not sure. It's almost kind of one of those things where you would have to get a hold of maybe another race team and like, hey, how is this exactly working? Or, maybe NASCAR officials or something. I don't know. I don't know what the steps would be to go through that process exactly. It's about the best information I can give. Because they are usually pretty secretive about it. Well, white flag in the air now, this time by for Joey Patterson. About to win his 4th consecutive race, his 8th of the season. In just the first 11 races. 5 to go after this, but we may only have to run one more to clinch the title. Checkered flag waving. Patterson is going to win the Bell Tower 150 at Richmond. Trying to do a drag burnout all the way down the front stretch. Trying something new. I don't know if the engine's going to be able to hold, but I'm doing my best. Oh, there we go. Now we got the really puffy smoke. That probably means that the engine's about ready to... We're almost there. Probably 3/4 of the way down the... Oh! Oh, I lost it. Too bad the smoke disappears after a while. I tried my best. That was pretty good. I burnt the rear tires off the car. That was the smoke show right there. Cerebral Assassin Southern Farms, welcome into the chat, into the stream. That was our first race. Don't go anywhere. We got one more race still for you on this doubleheader. Take a look at the top finishers. All 150 laps are led by pole sitter, points leader, and race winner Joey Patterson. Wire to wire for the first time this year. George Dennis finishes 2nd in this race. He is 2nd in the point standings, so Patterson, although he has a max points day, isn't going to gain that much over Dennis. The good news is Dennis didn't have a lap led, so no bonus points for him, which means that the points lead is probably 348 now. So if Dennis finishes in the top really 3 or 4, I think even with a max points day for Patterson and no laps led for Dennis again, it looks as if Patterson will not clinch the championship after Nazareth, so he will need a little bit of help. But for right now, he did his job, at least in the first race at Richmond. Elmer Cadwell finishes in 3rd. Danny Ross 4th. Only 4 cars finished on the lead lap. Bruce Kennedy rounds out the top 5. Junior McMillan finishes 6th. Bill Calhoun 7th. Wayne Huckabee 8th. George Myers 9th. And Paul Donnelly rounds out the top 10. 11th on back, finished at least 2 laps down. And we had 3 drivers fail to make it to the end of the race. That was Howie Black, Kelly Walker, and Travis Foster. All blew an engine in this one. No clue who was all involved in the accident. I would have to assume most of the cars that finished 2 laps down were likely involved. Yep, 4 in a row. And we'll see if we can clinch this championship for the Modified Series schedule, custom schedule, on this 2004 season. The Lehigh Valley 150 at the Nazareth Speedway. A track that is no longer on the circuit. Very unique shape racetrack. Our only trip to Nazareth on the season. That was the only trip to Richmond as well, by the way, on this custom schedule season. Hope you had a good Christmas. Hopefully you did too. I had a great Christmas. And I got to watch my Packers win a football game, so it was an added bonus. Only making it more the merrier. Okay, so I was a little wrong on that. 353-point lead. So we gave 20 points on George Dennis. So I guess... So here's the situation. If Joey Patterson leads the most laps and wins at Nazareth, if George Dennis doesn't lead a lap, we will win the championship. So we kind of control our own destiny, but if George Dennis leads just 1 lap, he's going to have to finish 3rd or worse. And we're going to have to win and lead the most laps, which is going to be tough starting from the rear. But it is possible. Danny Ross moves up to 3rd in points. He was 4th going in. Of course, he had that first DNF of the season, which dropped him from second to fourth in the standings because he was up there for the longest time. Of course, he won the first 2 races of the year. Junior McMillan, Elmer Cadwell. Look at that. Only 4 points separate third through fifth with 5 races to go. So that's a heck of a battle there. Really? And George Dennis is only 40 points ahead of them. So it's only 47 or 44 points. 44 points between second to fifth in the standings in a full season points format. If only Patterson wasn't on this absolute hot streak right now, it would be a pretty epic points battle. But the fact of the matter is that Joey Patterson's on an absolute hot streak. He's only got 2 poles this season. I've probably qualified for about half the races. That's okay. Where it really matters is the race. That's where Patterson seems to shine the most.
Welcome to Pennsylvania for today's running of the Lehigh Valley 150. As one of the longest tracks on the NASCAR Featherlite Modified Series circuit, these drivers will have to pay close attention to their speed and hit their marks perfectly as they make their way around this 1-mile track. We're just a few minutes from the start of this race on behalf of EA Sports. We hope you enjoy all the racing action here at Nazareth.
All right. Well, again, we know it. Patterson's got to lead the most laps. He has to win, and he's going to need George Dennis to finish at least 2 positions behind him. Unless he doesn't lead a lap, then he can really finish wherever. Green flag is going to wave, and we are underway at the Nazareth Speedway. Patterson about to spun the tires there, getting to the starting line. This is a very dangerous racetrack, especially for these modifieds and these open-wheel cars. We've only seen just the one flip, and it was back in the first race of the year. But again, we have seen at least one crash every race, and this is going to be a treacherous start. Say Richie Reed at the rear of the field right now. Patterson trying to make a pass in this final corner. Seemingly 5 turns around this racetrack if you count that little kink on the front stretch. There's turn 1, and you got turns 2 and 3 all in one right here. Turn 4, probably one of the sharpest turns on the racetrack. For the one you're going to have to slow down more for. Patterson's rolling pretty good on this bottom lane right now, as he tries to make his way through the field. Chuck Spicer just about got into the wall in turn 1. A bit of a close call. Patterson overdrives the entry to 2 a bit, but he'll stay underneath the 190. He'll power underneath Spicer down the back straightaway. Patterson trying to go for 5 in a row, which would be the most in a row for himself this season, and a championship potentially today as well. Bit of a block into turn 1 for Patterson. He's trying to hang on as they run 2x2 in front of him. A little bit of contact up ahead. Saw some sparks flying in the middle of turns 2 and 3. Kelly Walker coming off that blown engine in the last race gets around Glover. Underneath Wade Davis. Patterson to the inside of Glover. A little bit of contact. Glover's really pinching Patterson off as he tries to force it 3 wide up the middle. Patterson's just going to hop on the line and let him go. Patterson playing it safe right now. Haven't seen George Dennis at the back of the field at least, so that tells me he had a pretty good qualifying effort. Looking to the inside of Glover. Can't really side draft at all with these modified series cars. But he's able to pass Glover in turn 1. Sends it into turn 2. Inside of Kelly Walker, now inside of Davis off the exit of 3. Patterson's moving through this field. He wants to win this championship today. Entire field is still bunched together quite a bit right now. No separation really from first all the way back to last in 22nd place. Which again means if somebody just gets a little bit out of shape, as we just about had something there. Patterson got tagged on the right rear. Didn't really get knocked out of control at all, luckily. Big wool bar. Right rear probably saved the car behind him from running up over that right rear tire, causing a potential accident. Patterson on the bottom, down into turn 1, hugging the curbing. He's getting squeezed big time, but he'll still make the pass. Did a great job holding on to his line. Overdrove the corner, a little bump and run to the car on his outside. Patterson has made his way through half the field in the opening 10 laps. Up to 11th place. Brady Barnes currently in 10th. Each car is going to be a little bit harder to pass here than the one prior as he works his way through the faster cars now. Barnes just made a pass on Paul Donnelly in turn 1. Still a lot of side-by-side action up there. Looks like they're side-by-side for about 3rd place. Entire field kind of stacked up behind him. Patterson to the inside of Donnelly down the backstretch into turn 4. Pretty good handling car for Patterson. Drives it underneath Barnes. Barnes gave him plenty of room into turn 1. Patterson's clear. Still no sign of George Dennis, so that tells me he's at least inside the top 10. Can't tell who's leading on the track map right now. It's been the same car the entire time, but I can't tell what number it is. Cut to the bottom. Patterson making his way through. Flatlined it into turn 4. Pulls clear. Patterson all over the back bumper of Elmer Cadwell for 6th place. He's going to actually maybe take a peek to the outside. I don't know if that's going to work out very well into turn 4. This track is really flat. I don't think there's really any outside groove. The car stuck on the outside. Patterson trying to stay tucked underneath the 131 car, or at least behind him. Be able to open the door up, and that is going to allow Patterson to pass 2 cars that lap, and he's now inside the top 5 for the first time, filing himself in line again behind the 131 of Cadwell. One car overdrives into turn 1 and hits the wall. Right behind Patterson, dropping back 2 more positions now. Got really tight behind the 150. Oh, Patterson tried to hop in line behind Cadwell, and he moved him out of the way unintentionally. Cadwell did a great job saving it, and he holds on to at least 5th place. Found himself back in line again. I don't believe he got into the wall. Mistimed that. I was just going to pull in line behind him down the straightaway, and I just clipped him in the left rear. Good thing they didn't turn him across the racetrack. That would have been pretty bad. Especially with everybody still tucked up under a blanket. McMillan going wide. That final corner, Patterson did as well. Patterson trying to drive underneath the 192 of McMillan. He is there in turn 1. Will he stay there into turn 2? Got him. Patterson to third. Danny Ross is the race leader, trying to go for his 3rd win of the season. He's led every lap so far, so no sign of George Dennis. We must have passed him back in the field a little bit more. But at least he's outside the top 3, which would mean, again, a win and a max points day for Patterson could clinch him the title. A little wheel-to-wheel contact. And a battle for 2nd place. Oh, and more contact. Maybe a little too aggressive with Kennedy down the back straightaway. Patterson will take control of 2nd place. And he'll try to run down Danny Ross. McMillan to the inside of Kennedy for 3rd after the contact has stalled out and held Kennedy on that outside lane. Patterson is right there now into turn 2. All over the back bumper of Ross. Not enough room to pass him, though. The clean air is going to be tough. That's probably why Danny Ross has held on to the lead as long as he has so far. Have to imagine. Ross going to go a bit wide, though, into turn 4. Patterson is underneath. Oh, and a side swipe. Danny Ross going to hang on. It's completely door slammed. The 150 underneath him. Field's starting to bunch up. Patterson throwing a block on McMillan into turn 4. Patterson overdrives the corner. He's about to give up 2nd. McMillan is there, and he is clear. Patterson may get stuck on the outside, and he's going to pinch off the next car in line. And McMillan's going to try to go for the lead now. He slides up off the exit of turn 3. Patterson looks low. Now McMillan with a block. Patterson going to try. That was not a good move. At least he was able to get back down to the bottom. He wanted to go to the outside. Pulling out in some clean air. Doing whatever he can. He's got to build all that momentum back up again. Really low, down the back straightaway, into turn 4. Patterson to the inside of McMillan, and he'll drive around him back to 2nd place. Past the other cars who are not in clean air, but once you get to the leader, it's really tough to make a way around Danny Ross right now. McMillan's going to drop back another spot to 4th place. Patterson really doesn't want to waste too much time trying to get to the lead so he has a better chance of leading the most laps. Got a great run off the exit of turn 3, and he's underneath that left rear corner panel of Ross into turn 4, and he is clear off the exit of the corner. New leader Joey Patterson for the first time in the 2nd race of our doubleheader. Patterson down low to block now. Into turn 1. That's 5 bonus points for Joey Patterson, leading his first lap. After the first 28 laps were led by Danny Ross. Trying to get a second place points finish at least. He's going to drop back another spot to third now that he's lost the clean air. I think he's going to start going backwards. He was able to lead some laps while he could. I don't think that's going to be enough to lead the most unless he can get back towards the front. We'll see if Patterson can get away. It's going to be tough. Kirby really threw Patterson in turn one that time. With the grass on the inside, pretty much every turn, it really narrows up the corner quite a bit. There's a little bit of curbing down there in the center of the corner. Patterson may lose the lead on his own, though, in turn four. He's going to lead that lap. But he's going to have to lose the lead into turn one. Contact. Kennedy runs him into the wall. Kennedy's up on his left side tires off the exit of the corner as he comes back down on all four. So much momentum lost for Joey Patterson, and Danny Ross is going to try the outside. 3 wide down for the lead in turn four. And Elmer Cadwell's out in front. And he'll lead his first lap of the day. Side by side into turn one as Cadwell runs the 150 car wide. Big block back down to the bottom into turn two. Getting sketchy. How that wasn't a big wreck, I don't know. Patterson's right there on Cadwell. Looking down low. He'll have the inside into four. Seems to get plenty of room once he can get to the inside, but it's so hard to hold the top lane here at Nazareth. Hard in the wall goes Cadwell in turn one. Overdrove the corner. And now he's stuck on the outside even more. He's going to lose a bunch of spots after he's able to lead a couple laps there. I don't believe George Dennis has led a lap yet today, so that's good for Patterson. For the points. He doesn't have to win. If he wins, that just means that there's a better chance of Dennis finishing closer behind him because there's a 10-point increment between first and second. 15 points if that second-place driver doesn't lead a lap. And 20 points if that second-place driver doesn't lead a lap and Patterson goes on to win. And that would be the only way that Dennis could finish second place is if he doesn't lead a lap. And then Patterson would have to lead the most en route to his victory. So we know that if Dennis doesn't lead a lap, Patterson leads the most laps and wins, Patterson's a champion, no matter where Dennis finishes. That would be the only way that Patterson controls his own destiny in this race and has a chance to clinch the championship today. Otherwise, we'll have to wait another stream. And we'll have to at least run one more race. Can't remember where the next race is at, to be completely honest. It's either Red Bull Raceway or Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. That might be the next two races, honestly. I know we got another trip back to both of those tracks, and they're both 150 laps, because the first race at those tracks were only 100. Patterson's not really pulling away right now, though. Bit concerning, because you can see second through fifth. Even more than that, really. Not too far behind Patterson. Still got a long ways to go, 110 laps left. The calmest moment of the race so far, though. And I don't think it's going to stay this way for too much longer. Patterson gets sideways off of turn four. Stayed in the gas. trying to keep momentum up. Very crucial with these modified series race cars. These cars draft so well. These bigger tracks. Nazareth's like an overgrown short track. How flat it is. Every corner is unique, though. Really sets it apart from any other racetrack on this circuit. It does keep its standard oval shape in some way. Anderson's just got to keep protecting the bottom. Not sure who that is in second place behind him anymore. It might be Danny Ross again. That's what I'm thinking it is. Oh, in the wall in turn one goes Ross. That's going to help Patterson out a little bit. Seen a few cars get into the wall in turn one already today. That is definitely the potential of being named Calamity Corner this afternoon. Allows Patterson to get out to about a half a second race lead. He's not running too far off his fastest laps of this race either. 25.890, that last lap. His fast lap is a 29.866. See what this lap's going to be at the start-finish line. Fastest lap of the day, 25.8 flat that time for Patterson. So he is definitely running his fastest times he has ran in the second race of this doubleheader so far. Yeah, Nazareth's 1 mile. Honestly, I consider 1 mile racetracks short tracks by NASCAR standards. I know they're not traditionally considered short tracks. And maybe for the modified series, it wouldn't be considered short tracks, for instance. But as far as NASCAR goes, I feel like any track 1 mile or less, when the speeds are that much slower compared to the intermediates, like a New Hampshire. Dover's actually pretty quick, and I can see that being more, but the straightaways are so short. It feels like you're constantly turning, and it's like an overgrown Bristol. Things happen so fast there. That's why I would throw that in there. Phoenix, really flat. Had to back the cars up quite a bit in the corners. I just realized that last lap was even quicker for Joey Patterson. 25.788. Let's see what it is this time. Back to the 25.8s again. So you reach lap 50, about a 1 second lead for Patterson. Danny Ross getting into the wall really helped him out. I wonder if given the opportunity, we'll see what happened in our NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 Cup Series season where Dale Jr. tried to take out our driver Jimmy Johnson in that final race of the year, considering that he didn't have much of a shot at the title, but he needed to win. And Johnson had to finish outside the top 40 to be able to win the championship, and literally like all 3 or 4 times we saw him, he just tried to wreck us. Even though he wasn't a rival at the start of the race. Then when he became a rival in the middle of the race, he was definitely trying to wreck us. Seemed intentional pretty much all day. But I wonder if George Dennis, knowing it's his last potential shot at a championship, and it may close today if he's just going to have to race like that the rest of the season, Every time he goes in with an opportunity, though, he could end up losing more considering he's only 44 points ahead of 5th place in the points, even though he's in 2nd place. Seeing where Danny Ross is running now, and Danny Ross is only about 20 points behind him. And that's another thing, too. Really, any one of those drivers, 3rd through 5th in the standings, if they're able to gain more than 25 points on Patterson today as well, then Patterson will not clinch the championship. The main focus is George Dennis because he is 20 points ahead of 3rd. But you can't forget about those other guys if Patterson finishes in the back half of the top 10 and one of them goes on to win the race. Top 5 should definitely take those other guys out of question, though. Especially if he goes on to lead the most laps. As of right now, he's very close to eclipsing the most laps led, at least for the moment. Obviously, he's nowhere close to clinching it. Still got 95 laps left. Nice that he has created that separation, though. We still haven't seen a crash. We came close. Had a driver pop up on 2 wheels with some contact into the wall, but everybody pretty much stayed packed together after that. We've seen about probably 4 or 5 drivers total get into the wall in turn 1 so far, but no real accidents. We're waiting for it. Again, we've had at least one every race. We're not even halfway done with race 2 yet. I'm sure we'll have some engine failures thrown in there as well. Maybe it has something to do with the Modified Series always has 2 and 3 engine failures. Because there's some other series in this game where you can run a full race and not have anybody blow an engine, or maybe some races you have like 8 to 10 drivers blow an engine, and it varies a lot more. This one's consistent. It's 3 to 4 every single race. And I'm thinking it has something to do with there not being any cautions to cool these engines down. Everybody's just running hard, and most of these tracks are big enough, and these cars have enough downforce in them that they're able to go full throttle at most of these racetracks. It is nearly full throttle at Nazareth. The only corner I really have to lift is right there. And, well, speaking of the first crash, I think we had one in turn 4. There's a couple cars running a bit slower in the middle of turns 3 and 4. One car is very slow on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to limp his way around with some pretty significant damage. May have a right rear tire down. There were some sparks coming out. And everybody's going to try to get around him down the backstretch. I'm sure he'll use that excess pavement to get into the pit lane. Well, I guess you have to, considering the grass is in the way. So they're all trying to get around him. It looks like they are going to be able to do that. Lead didn't grow or shrink for Patterson getting through it. It was well enough ahead of him. And I was just talking about it about 5 laps ago, and there it is. We see our first wreck of the race. We'll have to wait to see if he can get that car back out on the racetrack. Get it fixed up. There's some pretty sharp angles into the wall at this racetrack. That had to be a pretty violent crash. Especially with him destroying the right rear enough that he had to bring it into the pits. I could just see him like overdriving the corner, just getting tight in some way and just T-boning himself into the outside wall. No safer barriers either. That'd be brutal. No pit stops in the series that drivers out of the race. I wondered if the AI might be able to pit, though. If there was damage like that on another car, if they were able to potentially just bring it back out on the racetrack later in the race. Obviously, he's fallen multiple laps down now. He's either going to stay in there, or if he does come out, he's probably not going to be able to get himself out of that hole, and he's likely going to finish last. Well, maybe not. Who knows? We got another car blowing an engine on the inside of the racetrack, and he's trying to make his way into the pits. If I do clinch the championship, I'm going to simulate the final 4 races, so we'll get to see exactly the full season points order and how many wins for each driver. So definitely stay tuned for that one, even after the checkered flag flies at Nazareth if we clinch the title today. So 2 drivers just a couple laps apart from each other out of the race. 2 down. I'm sure we'll see at least 1 more. And 1 crash so far. Almost halfway home. Well, as long as these next 3 lap cars, the first 3 lap cars Patterson catches, doesn't slow him up too much, it's going to be quite a ways before he catches even another lap car. Passing can be difficult here at Nazareth. We've seen it hard for at least drivers with clean air, and I wonder if that's going to go with the lap traffic as well. We know Patterson leads every lap from here on out. We know for a fact George Dennis will not be able to lead a lap. Therefore, Patterson will win the championship with this race victory. So he definitely controls his own destiny for the rest of this race, considering where he's at now, 2.1 seconds ahead. And growing. Wade Davis in the 177 car. It's like Rod Hansen's one of the 3 cars as well. Potentially Richie Reed. I know he qualified towards the rear of the field, and it is a red car of some sort. Looks like a red car. Yeah, it is Richie Reed. Okay. So Wade Davis, Richie Reed, Rod Hansen will be the 3 lap cars ahead of Joey Patterson. Staying pretty much single file. They are running multiple different lanes trying to get around one another. They still battle for position on the racetrack. Still on the lead lap, at least for right now. Patterson has not grown that lead at all in the last 4 laps. It stayed right at 2.1 seconds as he has now climbed into the dirty air behind these 3 lap cars. So he's definitely going to want to get around these guys quickly. Pulling out of line, going to drive it in deep into turn 4. Can't do it there. Had to check up in the middle of the corner. In time to keep it off the 177 car of Wade Davis. And we are now halfway home here at Nazareth. To the inside in turn 2, overdriving the corner. Didn't have enough room to really get underneath Davis, and he's got to build that momentum back up again. Or we could just try to intimidate him out of the way. Which is going to be the next step. Oh, we got to get a bit closer. Davis on the inside of Hansen. Ooh, big mistake there for Patterson. Making his way into turn 3. Patterson drives it in pretty deep. Makes his way around Patterson. Oh, man. Davis into the wall pretty hard in turn 1. Hansen makes his way around Reed. Patterson gets a little tight, makes some contact with Richie Reed. Reed nearly gets into the wall in turn 1. About overcorrected it. Leads down to 1.4 seconds. 2 lap cars between the top 2, though. Patterson's just got to get around Hansen now. See if Hansen wiggles at all. He is not wiggling whatsoever right now. Patterson is just getting really tight in turn 4. He's not able to hold that end of the racetrack. And he desperately needs to get around Hansen. Hansen's not moving. Hansen wiggles a bit in turn 4. Not enough, though. Holds on to the bottom lane. There's a wiggle by Hansen again. It seems like he's wiggling in turn 4 when Patterson tries to intimidate him. That's about it. Almost got it underneath him in turn 1. He's going to drive it in deep into turn 2. A bit of a wiggle off the curbing, though, for Joey Patterson as he's struggling to get around Ron Hansen. Way down low, trying to beat him into turn 4. And he is there now. And finally makes his way around, but he lost about 1.1 seconds of his lead. Hansen overdrives the car, and he's in the wall in turn 1. Second place, able to get by a lot quicker, though, with Hansen getting into the wall. But not close enough to be able to draft off of the 150 of Patterson, so I believe he did get around him quick enough. At least it's potentially looking that way. A couple more lap cars will get caught by the end of this race. At least a couple more. Patterson's just going to have to hope he can get around those guys a bit quicker because now he doesn't have quite as big of a lead to work with. It was Actually, 2.1 seconds before he caught any one of those 3 cars. Hansen definitely costed him the most time. Could be possible Patterson could try to grow that lead back out again in the process of catching these next lap cars as well. Patterson trying to stay fully focused. That lead is not growing once it got to about 1 second. A little bit better through turns 2 and 3 that time. .56 laps to go this time by in the separation between a championship and a potential non-championship, at least as far as today goes, for Joey Patterson. Doesn't seem to be as fast as what he was in the first half of the race, but he is slowly growing the lead back out again. Next lap car will be Chuck Spicer in the 148. Patterson's worked his way out to a 1.3 second lead. Was as many as 2.1 seconds at one point. Lap traffic has hindered that a little bit. I think Patterson's going to get to Spicer probably by the next lap. I don't think he'll catch him this lap. Oh, well, never mind. He's catching him. Looking to make the pass on Spicer. It's underneath Spicer, and in turn 1, a little bit of contact as he maybe forced his way clear of Chuck. He costed about a 1/10 of a second for Patterson. Spicer's driving it in pretty hard, though. Putting a little bit more pressure on Patterson, perhaps. Spicer overdrives it into turn 1, and now he hits the wall. Adding on to the car count of the amount of drivers that have hit the wall in turn 1. Spicer's still in front of second place. Rocky Glover in the 163 car will be the next up for Patterson to try and make his way around. Patterson will probably catch him by the end of this lap. Over. Running a bit wide. Patterson to the inside off the exit of turn 2. Glover's kind of pinching him a bit. Patterson's clear. All clear off of turn number 4. Lap 100. And now Glover is going to put it into the wall. My goodness. It's like they get tucked up behind the 150 and they just get super tight. Maybe on the throttle a bit too long on corner entry, and into the wall they go. It's a consistent trend. I'm not so sure that after this next lap car, as long as we don't see another accident, that Patterson's going to catch another lap car the rest of this race. So that'll be good for him. Really, the only reason he caught these guys as quick as they did is because they were slowed up because of a crash that happened in turn 4. Right around lap 61. Oh, jeez. Paul Donnelly's the next lap car. Potentially the last for Patterson. Still got decent ways to go, but that is a pretty big gap before the next lap car for the moment. Just going to really hope that everybody runs as cleanly as they can to the end. Anderson closes on Donnelly. Alternate through the different camera angles for the final time potentially this season. Patterson has just clinched the most laps led that last time by to the start-finish line. So a win and a George Dennis second or worse, which I should say just a win in general, as long as Dennis doesn't lead the lap, will win Patterson the championship. But Patterson is struggling behind Donnelly, and second place is on a rail right now. It is about 0.6 of a second quicker that last lap than Patterson. Patterson drives it deep into turns 2 and 3 as he's not quite able to dive it underneath Donnelly. Donnelly a little bit faster down the straightaway now. Oh, check up now by Donnelly. Finally underneath him off the exit of turn 3. Might be too little too late. All clear off turn 4. Finally a pathway for Patterson to get by. The second place is rolling to the inside of Donnelly into turn number 2. And another slow car down the backstretch who has blown an engine. Making his way onto the access road and out of the way into turn 4. Patterson left the bottom open too much. He gets bumped out of the way by Travis Foster. Nearly bumped out of the way by Foster. Patterson does hold on to the lead. Third driver to retire from the race, and business is picked up with just over 40 to go now due to the lap car of Paul Donnelly. Rod Hansen played a factor a little while back as well. Patterson has not been cleared off of turn 4 yet. He's trying to hang on to the outside, but now he'll have to dive in line to hold on to second. Trying to make his way back around Travis Foster potentially for the lead. Beats him back to the gas off of turn 3. He's underneath him into 4 on the bottom lane. Patterson back out in front. So Foster was able to get one lap led in. Foster almost gets into the wall off the exit of turn 4 as he's got a car underneath him. They hold on side by side for second place still. Patterson's unaware, really, of what car exactly is George Dennis, so he definitely doesn't want anybody else to lead a lap if he can help it. He knows which one Foster is, and nearly turned off the exit of 4. Oh, and he nearly gets turned again by Bruce Kennedy. Those two made contact earlier, and I'm thinking he was a rival, and that's why he was getting into the left rear of Patterson. That's unbelievable. At least it's Travis Foster who's back in the lead. Patterson's stuck on the outside. And McMillan's up to second. Big lead gone. Completely. Patterson drives it in pretty deep into turn 2. Back to the inside of the 192 of Junior McMillan. Shuts the door clear off the exit of the corner. Trying to run down Travis Foster. Dennis is at least 4th or worse right now. Patterson's starting to struggle with this car right now. It's getting really free on quarter entry. It's a good thing he's already clinched the most laps led before everybody caught him. Now just has to make his way around Foster. Yeah, how low Foster's running down the backstretch. He's trying to get his first win of the season, too. 34 to go this time by. Blocking at the start-finish line. Look at how low both drivers are going. Patterson overdrove turn 1. See if he can intimidate Foster. At all, if possible. As he tries to get Foster's car upset. All over the back of him, down the backstretch, into turn 4. Foster wiggles a bit. He's holding on to it for now. Foster is not moving at all. That time he did a little bit in turn 1. One more mistake and Patterson's going to be there. Turn 4, he's loose, but he hangs on to it pretty well. You definitely tell that his car's getting rattled around in there. And it's holding on. Still got 30 laps to go. These two are starting to check away from the field. So it's probably not working out quite as well as Patterson would have hoped. Big run that time. Did a little nudge. Okay, well, there we go. That's the aggressive way of getting by. Patterson back to the lead. Foster looking for an answer. See, Foster's going to do the same thing. Not quite. Patterson does not want to give up the bottom lane. It's going to be the best way for Foster to make his way around. And he'll lose a bit of time in turn 4. Dennis has not led a lap yet. He's running out of time to do so, depending on where he's at in the field. 26 laps to go. This time by at the line, Joey Patterson is back out in front. Trying to clinch a championship 4 races early. No more lap cars will be in the vicinity. That's only going to make it harder to pass Patterson with the clean air. He just tries to hang on. Seemed like Foster was a bit faster than Patterson that last lap. Patterson wiggles a bit off turn 2. Grip level on these cars only getting lower and lower as these laps wind closer and closer to the finish. Patterson, a little loose, trying to move up the track all on his own that time into turn 1. Gonna hold on to the lead for now, just 20 laps to go this time by. Top 2 again kind of pulling away from third place just a bit, not as much as they were earlier, but they are. Patterson used the bump and run to get around Travis Foster about 10 laps ago. And Foster overdrives the car into turn 1, into the outside wall, giving a little bit more breathing room for Joey Patterson to try and hang on. More cars starting to develop in a pack form from second on back now. About a 6 to 7 tenths of a second lead for Patterson with 19 to go. Looking for his first career Featherlite Modified Series Championship. In this 2004 custom schedule season on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. He's got enough separation now. I think that's all he needed. He's not catching another lap car unless there's another crash up ahead of him. Seemed like there was a pretty decent one in turn 4 way back at lap 61. Haven't seen one since. 3 drivers out of the race. One got knocked out of the race because of that crash. Had some damage that looked like to about the right rear of the race car, and then 2 more drivers have blown an engine set. So we may still see another driver blow an engine in this race as well. They cross the line with 17 to go. The interval has not really changed for the better or the worse for Patterson over the last 2 laps. since Foster got into the wall in turn 1. I miss the NASCAR Heat Series considering what Ignition has become. I don't. And I think it's only because Heat 5 wasn't a great game either. It was great retrospect compared to NASCAR 21 Ignition, but as a game itself, there was still, you know, the game would crash essentially on me at random points. I had to keep track of the points myself for the career mode. At least in this game, I don't have to keep track of the points myself for the career mode. So that's nice. Well, there are some benefits with NASCAR 21 Ignition. That's why I've seen the mentions of just go back to NASCAR Heat 5. I really don't want to do that. I know on PC you can update it, and I've seen it's better there, but I can't do that with my laptop I've got. So I don't plan on going back to NASCAR Heat 5. Well, there is another driver to blow an engine. Out of the racetrack, out of the way, was able to use the access road to get to the pits. Four drivers have retired. Patterson wins. At this point, he will win the championship. But he may have to win the race to do it, depending on where exactly George Dennis is running in the field. We know Travis Foster is in second. Dennis can finish second as long as he doesn't lead a lap late. Patterson would still win the title because he has clinched the most laps led. And he would have enough points to clinch it today under that scenario, though he's about a tenth of a second slower than Foster that last lap. And I think Foster is just starting to run a little bit quicker than Patterson. And he was about a tenth of a second quicker that lap, 10 to go. That's enough pace to get to Patterson. When he gets there, will he have a chance to get around him? Whatever 10th he was able to find that lap before, it looks like he's about to lose it right back the following lap, maybe and then some. Patterson grows the lead out almost 2/10 of a second that lap alone. So then Patterson's faster with 9 to go. Ran a 25.830. His fastest lap is a 25.761, so he's less than a tenth of a second off his fastest pace on 140 plus lap old tires. Eight laps to pay dirt. So it'd be 5 consecutive wins to close out the championship for Joey Patterson. Potentially, of course. See, now he was 2/10 of a second slower that lap. It's really fluctuating back and forth between Foster and Patterson. Patterson hugging all the curbing in turn 1. Trying to find all the speed he can. This thing's not over yet. That time at the line, it looked like Foster was about another tenth of a second quicker. Patterson really can't do any better than what he's doing right now. I hope for the best. Maybe a couple hundredths of a second quicker for Foster that last lap, but that was about it. 5 to go now. Curb kind of shoved the 150 car a bit wide that time. Patterson gained about a tenth in turn 4 alone. Three to go this time by. Patterson so close to the championship, and he may still be able to finish second and win the title. We just don't know exactly where George Dennis is at. We'll say Foster has left the battle that the rest of the field had behind him. Heck of a battle going on from third on back. Two-tenths of a second faster that last lap for Foster. 2 to go. About 2 to 3 car lengths is a separation into turns 2 and 3. Patterson a little bit better that time. Holding up the bottom into turn 4. A little wider arc that time from Foster. White flag. 1 lap to go for the championship for Joey Patterson. Still got about 2 car lengths between the 2 cars into turns 3 and 4. If Foster's close enough, he will try to send it into 4 to use the bumper, but I just don't think he is quite close enough. He put on a charge at about those final 8 laps, but I think it was too little too late. Off the final turn, it's going to be Joey Patterson getting the win at Nazareth and a championship to go with it. Winning the custom schedule season title. Great win for Joey Patterson. And he is your custom schedule season champ for the Featherlite Modified Series on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. 9-win season, winning over half the races in the year. A 5-race winning streak to end his championship run. Only 2 poles, but it was what was going on during the races that mattered the most. And Patterson made the most of it. Where's Victory Lane at Nazareth? Is that in the pits? I think it may be. Oh, there's Victory Lane. It's not in the pits. It's on the front stretch. There's no way to get in there. I thought it might have been, from what I remember. This is as close to Victory Lane as I could actually pull the car into, unfortunately. Joey Patterson is the champion. Congratulations to me. Take a look at your top finishers as always. This was probably the longest race of the season. I think it was the first one to go up over an hour in race length. 8 lead changes, 109 laps led for Joey Patterson from last to first, leading obviously over 2/3 of the race en route to the championship. Travis Foster led 11 laps there in the final 50. Junior McMillan finishes 3rd. George Dennis finishes in 4th place with no laps led. Good finish for him to hold on to 2nd in the point standings, but not enough for him to be able to stay in contention. As he should be outside of that 372-point mark. Bruce Kennedy finishes in 5th. Elmer Cadwell 6th. Kelly Walker 7th. Danny Ross led the first 26 laps of the race. Finishes 3rd. So I think Elmer Cadwell led the first 2 laps. Well, he didn't lead the first 2. He led 2 laps somewhere in there because we didn't take the lead until lap 29. So at some point, Danny Ross did not lead exactly the first 26, but he did lead 26. Fell back to an 8th place finish. George Myers finishes 9th, and Bill Calhoun rounds out the top 10. And 12 drivers finished on the lead lap, 4 drivers DNF'd of Wayne Huckabee, Brady Barnes, Jeff McFarland, and Marvin Humphreys. And we'll take a look at the full season championship once we simulate these final 4 races, because we already know who the champion is, and that's our driver, Joey Patterson. So 100 laps at the Old Spice Speedway. Simulate the Door County 150. Danny Ross gets his 3rd win of the year. Make sure I'm keeping track of these stats. It's probably going to finish us in last place, I'd have to imagine. Yeah, 20. Well, okay. I think it's going to have us last car on the actual track, and then if anybody DNFs, it'll finish them behind us, if I had to guess. Elmer Cadwell gets his 1st win. So that would be the 4th different winner of the season. And we would have finished 20th. Another trip to Watkins Glen. Junior McMillan gets his 1st win of the year. And then the final race of the year at the Milwaukee Mile. Junior McMillan again. So Junior McMillan wins the final 2 races of the season. So 5 different winners on the year. Joey Patterson with the most with 9 wins. Danny Ross with 3. Junior McMillan with 2. Wayne Huckabee and Elmer Cadwell each had 1. McMillan only led 2 laps in that final race. And we would have finished back in 19th. Now we'll check the full season statistics. We got a bot down in the chat. Betty Henry. All right. Take a look at the standings. Joey Patterson still a 136-point victory despite the fact I simulated the last 4 races because we did clinch the championship. George Dennis still finishes in 2nd in points. Good season for him. No wins to show for. That was probably the difference in him not having a shot at the title there. And having a shot, Junior McMillan goes on to finish in 3rd. Danny Ross 4th. Elmer Cadwell rounds out the top 5. George Myers in 6th, Kelly Walker 7th, Travis Foster 8th, Bill Calhoun 9th, and Bruce Kennedy rounds out the top 10. Chuck Spicer, our guy Chuck Spicer, finished 16th in points. Not too bad. Top 22. And I don't believe Browning made any starts, unfortunately, so we couldn't make any jokes that I had plenty of in my head that we were not able to put on full display this season. And George Dennis wins the most pole awards, 4 poles for him. Bill Calhoun gets 3. Joey Patterson in 3rd with 2. George Myers 1 pole. Paul Donnelly 1 pole. Wayne Huckabee 1 pole. Richie Reed 1 pole. Rocky Glover 1 pole. Kelly Walker had a pole. Travis Foster had a pole. So 10 different drivers in the 16-race season had qualified on the pole. And now the only other thing I got to do is get the average finish for the races I ran this year. I'm not going to count those final 4 races. So in the 12 races it took for us to clinch the championship this season. I think my phone's dead. All right, well that's nice. I've been having an issue trying to charge it lately. Like it wants to fall out of the charger, if that makes any sense. And I thought it was charging back there the whole time. Come to find out it wasn't. So now my phone's dead. All right, let's take a look here. Now I got to use the calculator on here. Alright, so 5 straight wins. 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, we know I had 9 wins. Does this website not work? I don't think this website works. Hang on. How hard is it to have a calculator? Online calculator. So it looks like we had a 1.3 average finish. That's insane. 1.3 average finish in the 12 races we ran with 9 wins, 2 second place finishes, and a third place finish. We can't get more dominant than that. I know it was only the modified series and there's only 22 cars in the field, so it's not as competitive. But you have to admit that it was pretty darn competitive. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this season. Hopefully you enjoyed this season. Got it done in, 6 live streams? So that was pretty impressive. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Once again, tomorrow night there will not be a live stream. I will be out of town tomorrow night, going to Monday Night Raw in Detroit. So if you're watching on TV, maybe they'll pan the camera to me or something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm wearing yet. I don't know what T-shirt I'll be wearing. I got a couple to choose from. I'm not sure which one I'm going to wear quite yet. But I'm going to enjoy myself tomorrow night. Hopefully you guys will too. We'll still have a premiere NASCAR 21 Ignition, New Hampshire career mode, full race highlights. Hopefully I get to the end of that race. And I should have the stability help on. I will have the stability help on with the 750 package coming into play once again. So I got to record that within the next, before I leave. Well, I got to record and edit that before I leave yet. But going to do that. That will be up on the channel tomorrow. By the end of the night tonight, we will have another career mode episode for World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series 2002. So check that out on the channel. Show that series some love. It has been a lot of fun for me to play. It seems like you guys in the comment section, for those that have watched it, have loved the series. So greatly appreciate that as always. Check that out. That will be coming up tonight. I'll probably have daily videos at least for the next couple days on that. Once again, I was able to get a lot recorded right before Christmas. Between Christmas Eve right before I went to bed and then earlier that day with getting off of work earlier. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Again, hopefully you had a Merry Christmas, and I'll catch you guys for the next live stream at least Tuesday night.